Hello, welcome to Anita the Pedagogue channel. Today we continue with our literature and English lessons. Today we want to analyze To Kill a Mockingbird, a very lovely, touching story by Harper. So we are going to discuss the title, the setting, the point of view, the plot analysis, and the literary devices. Let's begin with the title, To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, this story by Harper is a powerful exploration of morality, prejudice, and justice, and it is set in the deep south of the United States during the 1930s. The novel is both a coming-of-age story and a moral drama narrated by a young girl, Scout Finch, as she grows up in a radically divided society. Through Scout's innocent yet perceptive eyes, readers witness how injustice, kindness, and courage shape human experience. To Kill a Mockingbird, as a title implies to destroy innocence, an act of moral wrongdoing. Now let's look at the mockingbird. So these are birds that shouldn't be harmed because they do no wrong or harm. They just sing. And so it foreshadows what will happen in the story. It foretells what will happen in the story. It means that something or someone that shouldn't be harmed will be harmed. And so the title To Kill a Mockingbird foreshadows what we will see in the story at the end of the day. Let's move on to the setting, that is the time and place. This novel is set in the fictional town of Macomb County in Alabama during the Great Depression of the 1930s. It was a period of economic hardship and deep racial segregation in the American South. Harper's depiction of Macomb as a tired old town reflects the slow pace of life and the entrenched traditionalism of its residents. The physical setting, that is the dusty streets, porches, small town gossip, creates an intimate world where everyone knows one another, yet social divisions are rigidly maintained. The social setting is equally crucial. That is, the social setting, we see racial inequality, class prejudice, and gender expectations, and these define people's lives. Macomb becomes a miniature of Southern society where the struggles between justice and prejudice, compassion and hatred play out in a very vivid human terms. The oppressive nature and stagnation of the town mirror the moral stagnation of its people, making the setting shape the novel's tone and message. To Kill a Mockingbird is narrated in the first person by Scout Finch. So here, the story is in her, it's from her view, and she's part of the story, and therefore the first person narrative point of view. She recounts the events of her childhood from an adult perspective. So this dual viewpoint allows Harper to combine the innocence and honesty of a child's perception with the reflection and irony of an adult narrator. So she's writing the story as an older person, but from her view when she was a child. The child's voice gives immediacy and humor to the narrative, as Scout often misunderstands adult situations, which makes her observations both emotional and revealing. At the same time, the mature voice in the background helps readers to interpret the deeper significance of the events, especially the moral lessons about empathy and justice. This narrative choice ensures that readers see the prejudice and cruelty of Macomb through the eyes of innocence, that is a child, and this intensifies their emotional impact and stresses the theme of loss of innocence. Let's move on to the plot analysis, to the exposition, the beginning. The story begins in the summer of 1933 in Macomb, Alabama. 6-year-old Scout Finch lives with her older brother Jem and their widowed father, Atticus Finch, a respected lawyer. They meet Dale, a curious boy who becomes their friend, and the three spend their summers fascinated by their mysterious neighbor, Bull Radley, who never leaves his house. Early on, Scout learns moral lessons from Atticus, including his famous advice, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view." As the story progresses, in the rising action, we see tension arises when Atticus takes on the defense of Tom Robinson, a black man accused of raping a white woman, Mayela Ewell. The Finch family faces public hostility and ridicule from the townspeople for defending a black man. Scout and Jem experience confusion and anger as they witness the racism in their community. Meanwhile, Bull Radley secretly shows kindness to the children by leaving them gifts and later protecting them during a fire. The trial begins and the children observe from the colored balcony, seeing how prejudice overshadows justice. The climax occurs during Tom Robinson's trial. Despite Atticus' compelling evidence that Tom is innocent, including proving that he could not have committed the crime because of his disabled arm, the jury convicts him. This moment exposes the depth of racial injustice in Maycomb and shatters James and Scout's faith in human fairness. Tom's conviction, despite clear evidence, represents the symbolic killing of a mockingbird, the destruction of an innocent man by prejudice. In the following action, we see that Tom Robinson is later shot and killed while trying to escape prison. The town moves on, but the Finch family continues to bear the emotional weight of the injustice. Meanwhile, Bob Ewell, humiliated by Atticus in court, seeks revenge. One night, as Jem and Scout walk home from a school event, Ewell attacks them in the dark. In the resolution of the story, that is in the final moments, we see Bull Radley emerges from his home to save the children from Ewell by killing Bob Ewell in the struggle. The sheriff decides to cover up Bull's involvement, calling Ewell's death an accident. Scout finally meets Bull and realizes he is not a monster of childhood stories that she heard, but a shy gentleman. Standing on Bull's porch, she symbolically stands in his shoes and understands her father's lessons about empathy. The novel closes with Atticus reading to Scout as she falls asleep, a tender image of innocence restored, a moral understanding achieved. Let's move on to some literary devices. So we have the quotation, "It's a sin to kill a mockingbird." And here we see symbolism, as a mockingbird represents innocence and goodness. Characters like Tom Robinson and Bull Radley are mockingbirds, and they symbolize people who are innocent that are being destroyed by evil or misunderstanding. There's also foreshadowing, the gifts in the tree and Bull's blanket around Scout. So this acts hints at Bull Radley's protective nature and foreshadows his heroic rescue of the children at the end. We also see irony in this quotation, "All men are created equal," because at the end of the day, the irony is that the society is a racist society that denies equality to black people. So where is the equality here? There's also the use of imagery in the description of Maycomb as tired, red, and sweltering. So this vivid imagery captures the oppressive physical and moral atmosphere of the town. Again, we see a metaphor in the quotation. As for me, I knew nothing except what I gathered from Time magazine and reading everything I could lay hands on at home. But as I inched sluggishly along the treadmill of Maycomb County school system, I could not help receiving the impression that I was being cheated out of something. So in this metaphor, we see Scout compares her schooling to a slowly moving treadmill. It requires little effort for her to keep pace, but she doesn't benefit from it. We also see the literary device motif in the concept of walking in someone else's skin. So this recurring idea reinforces empathy. If you walk in someone else's skin, then it means you understand how exactly they feel. And it reinforces empathy and understanding, which are central values taught by Atticus. There's also personification. The quotation is Maycomb was an old town, but Eve was a tired old town. Here, Maycomb is addressed as a human being, as if it could really be tired. I want us to now move on to some likely examination questions. 1. How does Harper Lee present Atticus Finch as a model of moral courage in To Kill a Mockingbird? Explore how Harper Lee uses the theme of prejudice to shape readers' understanding of justice and compassion. Discuss the significance of the mockingbird symbol in the novel. How does Scout's point of view influence readers' understanding of events? In what ways does Harper Lee use Maycomb as a reflection of wider American society in the 1930s? How does Harper Lee create tension and sympathy in the trial scene? I hope this lesson was useful to you. Don't forget to put in your comments and questions. Hit the subscribe button, like and share. Until I come your way again, keep learning and be the best version of yourself.